Boom. Welcome, everybody. We are live on the AVE podcast edition on AVE Educate. Today is a very special conversation, or very conversation I've been seeing happening a lot online. And I have a bunch of special guests with us today and an amazing panel to talk to. First, before we get started and we get too into this, I want to thank you guys for being here with me again on Facebook, in the world, being out there and joining me tonight. I know you have things you could be doing. There's 13 of you right now. I'm loving this. So again, I don't like talking too much. I want to just jump into this and get started. I want to bring in the mastermind behind tonight's idea. I want to bring in the girl who kind of thought of this and made this all happen and brought us together for today's special conversation about cover letters and letters. I want to bring in my special friend from Stagehand Study Group, the founder, the owner, the creator, the mastermind of that as well, Rebecca Joy.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? I founded Stagehand Study Group a few years ago because there's not always an opportunity to ask all the questions that you want to ask when you're at work. Sometimes we're just so busy, people don't have time to really explain, answers to your questions in depth. So we created this group as a shame-free way of learning. People ask questions to teach, people ask questions to learn. People send me pictures of things to use as examples so we can learn what not to do and what to do. And you never have to admit what you don't know. So those of you that are not in the group, please join in. We have some amazing industry professionals that have been in the business for over 30 years. Some people that have written books, that have taught classes. So it's a really great resource for anybody in the industry, not just stagehands.
So I just put that in the comments for anybody. If you guys wanted to join, if you're interested, I highly recommend it. It's in the comments as of right now. It's a Facebook group called Stagehand Study Group. If you see the little cat, you're in the right place. Next person I want to bring in, by the way, is a very good friend of ours, Tom Berard. I'm going to bring him in here now. Tom, how you doing, Tom?
I'm all right.
You're good. Hey, so real quick, we were just talking about something, and I want to bring out the name real quick. We were talking about a book that you're about to come out with, and I love the name real quick. I know we can't talk too much about it, but I definitely want to get that name out there.
It's okay. I didn't write the book. I just contributed a piece, like 2 pages. It's called "Where the Wild Gigs Are," and it's
I love that name.
Should be out in 2 or 3 months. I don't know the details, but yeah, it should be out soon.
Awesome.
And I can talk about it more later.
No, for sure. Listen, that name is amazing. It sounds like it'll be a good book. It sounds like it's got some interesting things on it, and it's definitely going to have a plethora of knowledge that needs to be spread out there. So looking forward to that. I hope to bring you back on as well to talk about that book at some point, because that's really cool. I want to keep going forward here because I want us to get talking about this. I know the audience is waiting for it. They're chomping at the bits over here. We're already getting comments, from Dale Miller right here saying, yo, hey, Dale, how you doing, man? Okay, thanks for being here. Got Mike over here as well. What's up, ladies and gents? Hi, good to see you. I want to bring in our next speaker for the night, or our next panelist for the night, I'm sorry. I want to bring in Megan Mendel. And before I bring her in, I got a little something I want to say about Megan, just to introduce her, kind of hype her up a little bit. So I want you guys to give us a warm welcome. Megan has spent over a decade in live events as a creative force in New York City theater, as well as labor management for large-scale events. Now, as a person with disabilities, she seeks to fight for diversity and equality. So I have to slow down, especially to destigmatize mental illness in the workplace, which is huge, right? And I hope everybody follows along with this. Megan holds an MA in Theater, History, and Criticism from the Brooklyn College, where she assisted on a book for racial diversity and performing arts management. There alone is an awesome to have you on this show. So I'm really proud to bring you on here. And is currently serves as the live events communication and manager of talent acquisitions for the Watershed Moment, a consulting and placement agency. If I said anything wrong, which I do, please correct me, Megan, as I bring you on. How you doing, Megan?
You're good. You're absolutely fine. It's so great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, thanks for being here with us so much. The next person I want to bring in for tonight is a gentleman that we all get to know very well, and his name is Steve Wire, owner of Wire Productions. And we will give that information out to you guys in the chat if you'd like to speak to him more. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
No, but thank you for being here with us so much.
Rebecca. And to the other panelists, thanks for joining in on this important conversation.
This is gonna be a great night, honestly. Last but not least, well-known guest of the night, right? Well-known to the AV community, owns her own show called Feed the Food Crowd Passers. I'm sure no introduction is needed. The legend herself, Ray.
The legend. Thanks for having
me on the show.
Well, I do a lot of hiring, and I do read a lot of resumes. So when you were talking about this topic, I really did want to join in. So thank you for having me.
No, it's an honor to have you here as always. We love having you on the show. So I want to go in and kick this off with some questions we had got from the Stagehand study group. They had posted some questions, so I apologize that I'm going to look away for a second here. But one of the questions we saw, oh, am I in the wrong side? So give me a second. I'm looking for. All right. So yeah, all the time. By the way, if you guys are new to the group, new to our podcast here, this is a live Q&A session, so please ask your questions. This isn't just me talking. This isn't just the panelists giving answers. We're here to answer what you want to know the most. I will guide us to the best of my abilities, but you guys have questions I'm sure that are much beyond what I can think of, and I do not want to miss it because I didn't think of it. Honestly, there's so many different ways to do this that we have examples we can go through, and we have a great panelist on here with tons of information to give out. So the first one I want to go with, and Rebecca, if you want to go with this one, let me know, was from Sarah, some horrible names, Sarah Tybaltit. Is that, say that right?
I don't know.
Well, so, and I'll open this up. How about Megan? I'll let you go first with this one. When is it appropriate to lump similar gigs together versus listing each individually after a number of years having passed, if they're for the same producer, etc.? Difference between a resume and cover letter and when you need each is kind of the question. What are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot in there. I think what I'm going to start with first is the resume, and you're working with a specific producer or client and you have multiple types of positions under. Normally what I wind up doing is I'll start with like the client, and then I start at the bottom. So it's like, I'm trying to explain this. I'm a very visual person, so this might be, I'm trying to translate in my brain for myself. So the first position that you worked with them would be at the bottom, and then you start building up. I'm not sure if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely following you on that.
Okay, good. So that's how I would do it, because for me, what's important for me is to represent somebody as best as I can, and for that person to feel confident in who they are. So if you started as a stagehand and you made your way up to a director of project management, let's say, I want to show that trajectory for you. That needs to be represented because that shows the growth that you have done and how dedicated you are to your own personal growth. So that's definitely really important to show that trajectory.
That was a very good one. Anybody else want to chime in or have a little different perspective of what was just said before we go to the next one?
That's how I would do it.
That's perfect.
Rebecca, sorry, I think you're muted. What were you saying?
This is actually something that I had a question about on my resume, which you guys might see on the screen. But like, I have my experience separated. I have union stuff, and then I have like other stuff in a separate area. And so a lot of people are like, well, why do you do that? You know, is that the right way to do it? When you work with the local, you work for so many different people on so many different projects that if you list everything, it's going to be like 10 pages long.
Very good point. Very good point. Steve, do you have anything on that?
I think one of the key takeaways from what people are saying is the formatting is important to show a progression of your skills. Because one thing that I want to know is, yes, I see that you're an LD and you may be a project manager, but we also are looking for people that can lead stagehand work, that have that diversity. So seeing those levels of skills and progression through different producers, through different production houses shows stability of a worker, shows internal growth from that worker. And then it also shows that they're willing to progress kind of vertically and horizontally, if you may, in different fields. So like one producer may say you're a stagehand, and then another year you work with this group and now you're, you know, a lighting technician, and then you move up to LD through the years. So it kind of shows a progression that this particular employer or production house producer likes your work, and you're willing to work vertically up and then through different areas within, I guess, the fields of audiovisual, film work, theater work, backstage production work.
No, that's a very good point you make there. So in the resume side of this, and I think this touches a little bit on what Ed's asking here, Ed Wallach on the Facebook side has asked, how do panelists feel about multi-page resumes? And Ray, you seem like you already have an answer ready to go.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
2 is
What?
the maximum.
2 is the maximum.
Yeah.
I would say 3, depending on the position.
Okay.
True.
Depending,
Yeah.
like if it's some type of like executive management position, 2, 3, you know, I think that's appropriate. One of the things that I like to advise people of is having a separate sheet for select show experience. It goes back to kind of what Rebecca was saying. When you have so much experience and you've done so many shows when you're working with a local, it can get really overwhelming. So what I like to tell people is pick a set of shows that you feel really passionate about. Like you had really big growth on that show. You know, it was a tour you're super proud of. So that way that best represents you. So if somebody's looking at your resume and they're like, hey, I see you were on this tour. How did that go for you? That way that's a touching point. So when you're interviewing, you can feel really confident in your response.
I like that. And the community resonates with you. Tom Chapuro, which I put up, and I'll put this up again, he says 2 plus cover letter. And I see a lot of you guys were all on page with this. So
Yeah.
Before I go to the next one, does anybody else want to have an input say on this?
I mean, if you want to go beyond 2-3 pages, you better have some really amazing stuff to fill those pages. Because, you know, if you've done 50 tours, at most 10 of them are exciting and interesting to somebody. So the other 40 are just other tours. You know, the fact that you did 50 doesn't mean that much, really, if only 10 of them are interesting in some specific way.
I like where you're going with this, and it's crazy. So right now, Tim also asked this question: should I also list Grammy, Emmy wins on resume or cover letters, or leave it out completely? What is your guys' input on that?
Resume.
I would
Resume, okay. We got one for the resume.
If you've got a
three.
place, I mean, yeah, that's you know, industry recognition. Hell yeah, that's something you want on there if you've got a Grammy or something. But it goes with your certifications and that kind of thing. You know, I mean, if you've got one Grammy, that might fit in the cover letter. By the way, I got a Grammy for this or that. But if you've got 3 or 4 or something, that goes with your certifications, your education, you know, that's definitely important.
Completely agree. Absolutely.
I like that. And I want to jump in real quick because Ed also brings in a good question since we're talking about certifications by the manufacturer. Ed asks, I hold a number of manufacturer certifications that I list on my resume. How important do you weigh certifications when reviewing resumes? And I'll let the floor is open to anybody who goes.
So I find them important, but it also, I want to see them tailored to what you're asking to be hired for. If you've got 50 certifications, but only 5 of them relate to the job that you're looking to get, I don't need to see the other 45. I could care less about the other 45.
Good point. Good point.
If you wanted to throw in 1 or 2 extras to show that you have some diversity, that's one thing, but really try and keep those pages down, right? Because you give me too much to read. If I got a 5-page resume, I'm telling you, it goes right in the trash instead of being read. Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So too long, and you might just get passed over automatically. Too short, and you might not get looked at either because just like, well, you might not have an experience, but now you might have enough. But I don't really want to go through all that because I got to go through. And Rebecca, maybe you have a good comment on this. I got to go through 100 of these. I don't got time to do 5-7 pages for one person.
So something that people are doing now is they're having a website online with everything that they have ever done. And then you can list that on your resume. So you can say, like, if you want to see, you know, my complete work history, you can go here. So that way it's still available, but you're not overwhelming somebody.
Right.
I like that. So bring in the fact that, hey, here's my 2 pages with my cover letter, right? And in here, I'm giving you the highlights of my career. And at the very bottom, put like, hey, if you want to know about some other stuff, maybe manufacturer certifications, maybe things like that, follow this link to kind of dive into those. So now it's like, here's my cover page on paper. If you want to dive in deeper, here's a link to go to XYZ. And does that seem to be a universal thing when it comes to doing this? Does everybody see that?
I mean, I tend to tailor my resume to a position I'm applying for. So if I have 20 bullet items, and it's a position that has something to do with lighting, I'm going to put the lighting ones at the top, because if they read the first three and they're like, oh my God, he'd LD this and LD that and whatever, that's what they want to know. And if the bottom five are stagehand and rigging and whatever, they're like, yeah, that's cool. But if they are impressed by the first five, great.
I like that. And Steve, you were going to say something?
Yes, I was going to suggest that now that we're doing like QR codes and augmented reality, to include that on your resume and on your business cards and cover letter. So that way that individual, they have a smartphone, they have an iPad or some way to take a quick picture of it that will then link it to your interactive social media page. It'll interact with your LinkedIn, wherever you want that QR code to be triggered to. And what's really cool with the AI stuff is that you can point your phone like at that trigger, and then it will show a picture of your work. So for example, if you're a lighting designer and you want to show these tours, or you're an audio engineer and you want to show some of that, you can actually QR code that in or create an augmented reality to that, which would separate your resume from all the other, I guess, kind of formats and like longer pages. My suggestion is to keep it short, put your best stuff first, definitely have your certifications on there and skills. But furthermore, once we get you in and we read the resume, we're going to have you fill out like a questionnaire to really understand all of the certifications, all of those skill sets. So the resume is kind of like that cream of the crop, tip of the iceberg, so to speak, to give me the best of what you have in the period of time that you've been collecting data or work history, education history, tour histories, and things of that nature.
I like that how you said about the QR code there, where you can kind of use that to your advantage. To instead of making a link, you do a QR code, so the client may or their end client, right, may see this at their resume and be like, hey, let me check this out. What I see here is good, right? Doing what Tom said here and tailoring it for the job. So doing a little bit of your research, right? Things that we should all know to do already. And then maybe having that QR code as a highlight to say, okay, I like what I'm seeing here. Let me see what else he has. And then this goes to maybe a LinkedIn account or like Rebecca's saying, your page. I like Michael here. He's saying, and maybe this is a great idea. He's saying page always, right? Personally, like one page. That's his thing. So maybe Michael, if you're doing QR codes, let us know. If not, it's good. So I have another one here that
for those that are like actors and things, it's really important to just have like one page, because like in the theater world, a little different in that is to have the one page, and the formatting is different for the actors, for an artist, versus like if you're going in for a corporate job, or even if you're going in for an AV production kind of a job, to really tailor it for that interviewer or that hiring manager, so that way they can see who you are for that specific job. Unless it's like a blanket, like you're just trying to fill, like, hey, here I am, look at me, and then you put a bunch of stuff on there. I would suggest having your online presence solidified and then link it, so that way you can track who's going to the QR code, you can see who's looked at it, and then it puts your stuff on their device.
I like that. So I want to jump to this one real quick. By the way, I love doing these positive feedbacks. So Mr. Martin says, nope, not yet, but that's a really unique idea. So already giving ideas to the community out there. So Megan, I wanted to point this one towards you a little bit here. So Tim Shapiro is saying, knowing my resume is entertainment only, never had a real job in 30 years since high school. I fall in a similar scenario. Do I keep industry terms, or do I dumb it down for vanilla companies? And I come to you only because you're a recruiter and you probably see tons of these. So you probably have a very broad definition of what vanilla is versus what dumbing down is.
So there's so many layers to this. First of all, Tim, you've had real jobs. Entertainment is a real job, and you've worked really, really hard to get where you are. So don't discredit that. And I know it can be difficult. I have 2 theater degrees. So talk about, trying to figure out what my resume should look like. I come from the school of your resume has to be one page only, because I need to put it in the back of my headshot. So that for me, honestly, it's taken a number of years to break through that. I think that theater and entertainment are 120 million% transferable into other industries. And I personally struggle with sometimes trying to flip the mindset of candidates and clients on why a skill set that reads very entertainment based is worth their time if they're not entertainment. There's no true clear answer to this, I think, because it applies so much on the job that you're applying for, the company itself, their mindset. What I think there is that there is a middle ground. I think there is a middle ground, and it takes a little bit of work on your part and your recruiter's part, if you're working with a recruiter, to figure out the other terms that you could be using instead of like super strictly event terms.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a very, very multifaceted kind of situation.
I like that. I agree with that a lot. And I think, Steve, you wanted to jump in on this because I saw you were listening intriguingly, and I think you want to add something?
She mentioned theater, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the theater world and the arts world." I saw that, like another kind of dumbing it down. Really, the difference in explaining like skill sets, like responsible, making decisions, leading a team, being able to complete a project from A to B, time management skills. Those are transferable as opposed to saying like, "Oh, I ran a mile of feeder and I took a crew of 15 and we put up stuff," right? That's kind of hard to translate, but across other working environments, it's those team building skills, those communication skills, being able to effectively write down a cause to effect, standard operating procedures, understanding culture within the workplace. And those skills are transferable. Obviously, some things, skill wise may be completely different. As far as moving from one industry from the entertainment to say like a corporate business structure where you're having to wear like a suit and tie and different kind of on-site stuff. But I think that those other elements are important, to look at, because if you have been working, knowing, showing up on time is important, and being able to invoice properly, which shows that you have some sort of fiscal responsibility, is important. So those types of thoughts in looking at those types of skill sets, as opposed to thinking, "Oh, I've just, running front of house or running a mixer, the stress of running a mixer, being under pressure." That's the kind of thing I would focus on if it's not industry specific, in looking at those types of situations, because whether you're changing tires or you're trying to sell at like a boutique, blouse shop and they could get pressure, as a line cook for many years. We get a rush of orders, being able to handle that professionally and minimize the damages of how many things got screwed up out. And I think is important to know, versus saying, "Oh, I ran, a big lighting console, but the client came over and I freaked out and had a meltdown and things just went awry," doesn't show that you're maybe the best leader for that next jobs per se.
I like that. And Rebecca, I saw you smiling. So he said something that triggered something here. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more? No,
I wanted to throw something in.
Go ahead.
So Megan touched on this, and that was that it's your job to know the people you're applying to and know what terms are going to make sense to them. If you're in an industry that you've already been working in a while, they know what feeder is, and what LECOs are and whatever. You want to target. It's all about targeting the audience. Knowing your audience. Use the terminology that they're going to know, and if you don't know that, find out, because it's up to you to impress them. And if you start using really generic terms for something that's so industry obvious and specific, they're going to say, "Does this person really done a show?" So yeah, it's on you to impress them and to show that you know the work and you know the industry.
100%, 100%. I have one here that I got from Tim Shapiro, and Rebecca, if I'm saying this wrong, please let me know. But he says here, what if you worked at a company 2 different times, such as when I worked at a company as a warehouse manager for a few years, then 7 years later went back to as a bench tech? Why listed as 2 different companies? And I'll open the floor to anybody who wants to take that. We're stumped. So
Well, I
we're-
would just
we're-
list it as two different
wouldn't list
times.
it.
You know,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I agree with that. You go, Ray.
I'm muted. Oh, there you go. So I would list it as the two different timelines of working at that company, and it does say a lot about you that not only did you go out and do other things, but that company was willing to bring you back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it says a lot about you that the company would bring you back even in a different position.
That is an excellent perspective that I did not think of right off the bat. I really like that a lot. Tom, you wanted to say something?
I think Ray covered it. Yeah.
And what about Steve or Megan? You guys anything you want to add to that?
I think Ray definitely covered it. It's certainly something very common. Another common kind of scenario with that is somebody started off as a full-time employee and then they left to go do whatever else, and then they came back, but only as a freelancer and not full-time. And I would suggest handling it in the same way that Ray had suggested.
That's awesome. So Ray, master words tonight. You covered it across the board here.
Yeah, sorry
I have
about
another
that,
one
she's new.
that is similar. I got another one that's similar that Ed Willock is bringing up. Ed Wollock. Let me find this one because this one I feel this one for myself. He says, for people like me who work as an operator in multiple departments, generally A1, V1, LED tech, projectionist, do you advise having a resume that covers all my skills or separate resumes for each specialty? And I feel like, Tom, you might have some say on this, or maybe Steve.
Well, my feeling would be if you're applying for a specific position, put that specialty as the lead. You know, you're applying to be a projectionist, put your projectionist experience. The fact that you do lighting and audio, you know, at the top level also is good. So we want to know that. But, you know, your projectionist experience is what's most important. So if there's room for everything, put everything. If there's not, you know, like if you are insisting on a one-page resume, you're not going to necessarily have room for all of that. But if you show that you maybe did 2 or 3 specialties as a, you know, V1, L1, then that speaks very highly of you, you know, that you're at the top level of different disciplines. But it's a matter of what you can fit, and you know, they're not going to read everything, but if the most important stuff is at the top, that's, you know, and you should. The thing about specializing your resume is that you're telling them, I want this job. I understand who you are. I care about your needs. I can fill them. You know, if you say I can be an L1, I can be, what you're telling me is, I'll take your projectionist job, but I really want to be, you know, the lighting director, you know, and that's not a good look. So
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And also, I know Ed a little better than this, but if I saw this chunk at the top of your resume that says you are A1, V1, LD, and rigging, and I'm already going, whoa, I'm not sure that you're right for my job. You know, I'm looking for an audio guy, you know. It's important to know that you have those skills, but it needs to be somewhere down further. You got to catch me first, keep me reading, and then somewhere as we go down, I'm like, oh, and he's got background in some other stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that perspective a lot, and it makes me or reminds me of it reminds me of a quote that I can't remember right now, but it goes something on the lines of, man, at the end of it, it's master of none.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Boom,
Right.
got it.
Yeah,
Jack of
yeah.
all trades,
Right.
master of none. So
Yeah.
you fall into the category of that, it sounds like, Ray, right? If you list
Right.
too many things, but if you specialize your stuff, like Tom was saying, and what everybody's saying, if you specialize it to the job you're going to, and then add those as an afterthought, like, oh, by the way, I also know these things, but I'm a specialist in this. That'll look better for you in the long run.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
I love that.
If you are going for different jobs because you really do have that passion of, you know, if I'm an A1 and I'm going to be happy all day and I'm fine with that if that's all I'm doing, or I could be a V1 and I'm happy all day doing that. If it really doesn't matter to you, then absolutely tailor them to the person you're sending each resume to, with your A1 skills for the A1 position and your video skills for the video position.
Right.
So I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Rebecca, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just wanted to go back to the point that I was talking about earlier, where if you have a website that can lists all your work history, something that we're going to be dealing with coming back from this pandemic, people are already talking about it, is that they're going to want you to do more than one thing, because the less people that are on, working an event, the less risk. So showing that you are more capable of working in other departments is becoming more important than it has been in the past. So just have a place where you can link to that other work, but you're not throwing it all in their face. Your resume is a teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see a lot of still got them shaking heads.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to jump here real quick. I kind of want to jump ahead before I come back. So if I missed your question, I didn't, trust me, but this one fits perfectly here. So Joe Mitchell says here, should an about me have a place on your resume, aka a LinkedIn profile, or should they only be reserved for a cover letter or not at all? I saw Steve, you shaking your head immediately on this one.
I would suggest it not on your resume, but change it to your objective or purpose or like intent of why you're hired, like why you want to apply for that specific job.
Yep.
And that not like an about me. That's more for like social media, LinkedIn, perhaps maybe the cover letter very briefly. And then, the resume is more of, it's like the black and white of your work history, current jobs, education, certification, skills, and then like your objective. Like, I am looking to get hired in an AV production house, working full time on shows as a lighting designer, or I am looking to seek employment for an IT position where I can expand my knowledge in the infrastructure of information and technology, or something of that nature. The about me is going to come from me looking at your website or looking at your LinkedIn or looking at your Facebook page or any other marketed where you want me to go, because I don't know where to go look other than what you send me. But an about me on a resume doesn't really translate too much because there's really not so much space there for that. Which gets me to, like, if you're inexperienced, coming out of high school or you're coming out of college, you don't have 10 pages worth of content to put of experience, then that may apply. Where you would say recently graduated from X, Y, and Z and looking, and to give me that knowledge that you can formulate sentences, you have an objective where you're not just kind of blanketly sending resumes out to whoever will look at them and then it being like, well, are they interested in AV? Are they interested in theater? Are they interested in production? It's not very clear as to what your resume is tailored for. Because I've seen that before where it's just a bunch of stuff put on a piece of paper and it doesn't really give me kind of like a trajectory of you as how you've grown over the period of time from when you started collecting the data to the time that is current, and showing me kind of that progression. And if there's gaps because there's nothing there, then I would, put a little bit more meat in there about one of the, not necessarily about me, but more of an objective goal.
So on my end for that, I currently use a template that has like a professional profile, and I'll only allow 3 sentences at most to go in there. And it usually has the information such as like 15 plus years as a video engineer specializing in broadcast, yada, yada, yada. Maybe just kind of a few comments about leadership or client facing. And then at the end, kind of a goal of where they're looking to expand and learn. I do agree that the resume definitely should be a point of your trajectory and skills. That definitely is what I agree a resume should be.
I like that perspective a lot from both of you. That was really cool. I have one here I'm going to throw in here that Ed brings up just to shake it up a little bit here. I feel like Tom's going to jump on this real quick. So Ed says, but what if you are a master of multiple trades? What then?
Well, like I was saying, when you're going for a particular position, then that's what we want to see first. and throw those other little things down in there so that you've caught my eye in the fact that you have rigging experience, lighting experience, and audio experience, but that you're looking to be a video person. And that can go for, even if you're looking at a company to freelance with. If you're looking to freelance, it gets a little more complicated in sending them a resume. But your resume for a freelance position needs to be a target for a conversation. And then you can tell me about all the other skills and other things that you do like to do that I would be willing to hire you for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Sorry that I missed somebody.
I want to say something that kind of goes just to the beginning, that kind of, we jumped into the resume stuff, and like, this is an oversimplification, but there's a lot of truth to it. And that is that the cover letter has one main job, and that's to get them to read your resume. Because if your cover letter sucks, they're not going to even read your resume, and then you're host. You're lost. If they're like, this person can't form a complete sentence, I'm not going to read their resume. And the resume its main job is to get you an interview, and the interview is to get you the job. And so, if you're screwed up on any of those documents, you're cutting yourself off before you're getting to like the interview. And the interview is to get you the job. So, but let's go back to resumes.
No, I like that. So before we get into a couple of these questions, I wanted to ask, and maybe Rebecca, Ray, or anybody really, but because you guys have seen a lot of these resumes, or Megan even, what do you guys, when you're looking at a resume, like what's the format that most catches your eye? Like, the simplicity of it is obviously one thing, right? A cover letter, 1 to 2 pages, maybe a hyperlink or a QR code or a link to LinkedIn, something like that, if you want to dive in deeper. But what kind of format kind of really quickly draws your eyes in? Is it a cover letter that talks about the About Me section, which Steve's, has different opinions on? Or is it the 2 pages that says, hey, here's my work history, here's, XYZ part of my certifications, you want to learn more, go here? Like, what have you guys seen that was really worked well? And what are something you've seen that's like, hey, this was too much, all on these pages?
I think extensive show experience. Like, I have seen resumes where somebody has handed me 4 to 6 pages of show experience. And that is very, very overwhelming for me, because I'm like, okay, but like, what are you doing now? Where does your skill set sit now? What do you want to be doing?
What are you looking for?
Yeah, and that's what I have been running into at my previous job, and currently I especially run into this. I work with the whole entire general AV population, but I specifically usually wind up with LED and video engineers, and I see video engineer. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? They're like, I'm a video engineer. I'm like, okay, but you work with broadcast? Like, what do you do? Well, I'm a video engineer. I'm like, okay. Tell me about the day in the life of you as a video engineer. And then, from there I go through, okay, so you did this on this show. What gear did you use? Did you run a crew? If you weren't running a crew, what else were you doing? So specifics are really, really good. And I know that it's not easy to be specific sometimes, especially if you've been doing the same thing for years upon years. But definitely I can tell you, as a recruiter, I am looking for specifics, and I'm more than happy to help you get there. But just like to plant that seed in your head now for like anybody watching this, specifics. Give us the specifics.
Yeah, I guess going back to, well, can I jump in? Thank you. Going back to your question about format, obviously you want to start with your name and your contact information, and then you want to go. I've read a lot of places don't use an objective, and I disagree with that, because I want to come out and say I want this job. And typically I don't send a resume to someone if there's no job. You don't want a resume for a job you're not hiring for. So you say, I want this job and here's why I'm qualified. And then you go into your experience, and you should have a list of bullet items of things you've done, and every one should start with an action verb. I've got one, I got my current resume here, and the first bullet is assemble, installed, mounted, led team, install and upgrade, test systems, perform cable management. It's everyone is an action verb. I did this, I do this. Because that's telling the person, I have this skill, that skill. And, like I said before, you're putting it in the order of the ones that relate to the job that's open. So you're saying, yeah, I need somebody who can do that. I need somebody who can do that. I can, when you get down to a third of the way through, it's like, yeah, that's cool that he can do that, but he's not going to do that on this job. Oh, you've done this. Well, we're not going to need her to do this. They don't necessarily need to read the whole resume, but if they see the first 5 items, they're like, those are exactly the 5 things I need, then, you've got a chance.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Ray, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm just agreeing.
I did this, I do that.
All of you who look at a lot of resumes, don't you hate it when you get a resume and it's got stuff on it that's just really, really fuzzy, weak, and soft? You're like, what are you trying to tell me? You want something that's just boom, I did this. I have one in here. I can terminate, Cat 5, coax, Ethernet, XLR, I can solder, I can do crimp connections. I can, that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I need all of this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I got one here from Ed. I want to bring back into the fold. Ed says, how valuable is it for you all to see that a tech has been doing virtual work during the pandemic? Are you put off if you see live techs who haven't worked since the shutdown?
I can tell you that what I will be looking for when we come back is that you were either working in or out of the industry, don't care, educating yourself in something new, or working virtual events. If you were doing anything, even if it was outside of the industry, I would still put it down. It doesn't negate the fact that you worked in the industry before and you're trying to come back. There's no issue with that at all. But it depends on what the job is, whether or not your virtual experience is going to be of any use to me. If I'm looking for the live event A1 and you send me, I've been doing Zoom stuff, well, that's fine, but it doesn't mean anything as compared to Home Depot either, because we're trying to get an A1. You either have A1 experience or you don't, and whatever you did over this last year is whatever you did over the last year.
It seems like university, everybody's kind of agreeing, like, hey, as long as you kept busy and honed your skills and you just didn't sit home and wait,
yeah,
we're looking at you because you're a hustler and we want you.
I will say this: I booked a friend, tech recently for a boom lift job. We had a scoreboard that we needed work on, and the technician doesn't have boom experience, and we needed a certified boom tech, and I brought this man in to do that, and I was impressed that he couldn't do it tomorrow because he was booked. And a lot of my stagehand friends have been sitting on their butts for a year, and that was pretty impressive. That you're busy, you can do it next Friday, you can't do it tomorrow. And so yeah, it's good if you can show that you were, what's the word I want, you were able to pivot and keep working while all this crap has gone down for the last year. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I agree with all of this, really. For me, it's the education factor, to show that you really were trying to invest in yourself and in your craft. But more so, what's important to me is to show grace in the fact that we were in a pandemic, like there are limitations. We don't know people's personal lives and what they have gone through. Maybe they had someone sick with COVID for 6 months, so that's certainly something I think about. I'm not going to be angry if somebody wasn't working in the industry. I show grace in those situations for sure.
I like that. So anybody who just, again, hustled while they were doing this and they didn't just stay home and wait, make that well known in your resumes because people are looking at that. I got less than 15 minutes left here for the show. I have 2 questions I want to bring in. We know how to do a lightning round. I just want to bring them in. And I kind of think we're getting to a little bit of the nitty gritty stuff now that may or may not be as important as we want it to be, but I also want to bring it up because it's being asked and I don't want to dismiss it. So Jeremy Bird is asking, when putting your phone number on your resume, should you put cell or mobile for your phone number, even though there's only one number listed? Nitty gritty. I know nitty gritty.
Don't put anything. Who cares? If we want to call you, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly what Tom said.
I think you put a C for cell phone, a P for phone.
There you go.
M for mobile.
Yeah.
So just get rid of the verbiage and put an icon in there.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Brevity is the soul of wit. If you can put something in as little as information as possible, and I know what you mean, but if you put one phone number there, guess which phone number we're going to call?
Yep. Love it.
If it's a landline, I'm not going to not call you,
Of course. So Joe Michael asks a question here. Suppose you're a freelancer. This is probably a lot of people right now, right? Suppose you're a freelancer working from a lot of companies, but performing similar job duties across them. We kind of covered this a little bit. Would you suggest listing all of the companies you freelance in a combined space, or just cherry pick the companies that you most impressive, or keep it anonymous and just say self-employed freelancer? What do you guys like the best? And I see, Megan, you're thinking already.
Yeah, because I run into this all the time with people who are freelancers that have their own companies. So if it's somebody who has their own company, what I do is I have them at the end put select clients, if it's not going to get dicey because of NDAs or anything like that. And then you can list 4 to 6 clients, Google, blah, 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 things like that. I have seen most freelancers who don't have an LLC or anything will list each company with the task they performed. Some mix up the verbiage so it doesn't sound the same. And then others do wind up copying and pasting for each one the same thing.
So I got 2 really good ones that just came in here. And what I'll do is, just because of the timing right now, we got less than 10 minutes. Me and Rebecca had this really cool thing with these examples we wanted to kind of go through, and maybe we'll do a lightning round on that. But this is a good one. I'll leave us in the Brady Bunch for you here and let ask it. But Ed asks us a question, and there's 2 of these I want to get to. So Ed asks us first. Here we go. Would be fully vaccinated something that you would like to see on a resume?
Wow.
I'll leave that open. Yes.
Wow.
I never thought about that.
I want to see it. I don't know that it goes on your resume, maybe in your cover letter.
Yeah.
Somewhere to say, just, and
Right.
by the way, I'm fully vaccinated and willing to, abide by your COVID rules.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cover letter is a great place for things that don't belong in your resume. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, add it. Maybe just make it a highlight, not a main point, because it's kind of like, I'd like to know this, but it's not going to take away from you getting this job. Yeah. All right. So another one I got for you guys here is from Ed again. Sorry. So Ed asks, do you all like the more graphical style of resumes or more of a traditional format?
Anything that's easy to read.
Yeah.
Easy to read is all it comes down
White
to.
space. Have some white space.
Yes,
Have some white
please.
space to go
Make it
graphical.
readable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have it readable and have 2 pages than have you cram everything, with no margins and tiny type. And,
8-point font.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Forget
don't
that.
do any of that. I'd rather have 2 pages.
If I'm blind by the time I finish your resume, you're not getting hired.
Yeah. Unfortunately, resumes are real traditional, I feel, and where your website, your online social media, that's where you can get graphical and add a lot more pizzazz. The resume, unfortunately, unless you have a color or, a couple of colors that kind of stand out. But in my experience, the more graphics you have on a resume, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I've gotten and that's even on the artist side, trying to get weird artist stuff too. It's weird that unfortunately, the resume cover letter, it's like this weird traditional, keep it simple, keep it very readable, nice font, very clean looking font, and that you'll get a lot more bites on that, a lot more interviews.
Yeah.
I got a couple more that are coming in here. Robert Schumacher accesses it. I'll let one person go with this, and then we'll go to the next one. We got about 8 minutes left. Robert asks, sorry, how would I word my work during the pandemic? Like training people on cameras and learning new gear, plus continuing work. Example, work for like the Orlando Magic, for example. How should he put in that he did training for stuff, or that he got training to learn and improve on a skill set? What would you guys see as a standout? Should they make that a section saying during 2019's pandemic,
That's totally cover letter stuff.
Right.
For the last year, I've been doing XYZ. It shows you had there's a word I'm losing, the creativity or something, tenacity to go and pivot and find other work. If you were always doing live events and now you're doing Zooms or something that's still AV, still, that's great that you figured out how to stay employed during this mess. And yeah, it's good in the cover letter. If it's a skill set you already were using, then yeah, it's a cover letter thing. If it's a whole new skill set, it belongs in there if it's a skill set they're looking for. Because a lot of companies are not bringing their employees back, so they're going to, having somebody to run Zooms for a corporate client who is going to have all these meetings happening that are going to be virtual instead of in person, then that's a skill set that they're looking for. But if it's a live event job, the fact that you are really good at Zoom isn't necessarily relevant, but it belongs in your cover letter.
That next one I'm going to go through here is from Jamil Decker Alamard. I put you up for a reason. Asks word, phrases, skills you don't want to see on a resume. And again, open up to one person.
Anything biased.
Any jokes?
What again? No jokes. Got it. Anything biased?
Right. Words and how they formatting can show bias.
Don't have a stupid email address. We talked about this before.
Oh, yeah, before. So we talked about
JimmyStaysStoned@gmail.com is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last name, first name at whatever is probably a pretty good rule of thumb across the board. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to close out the questions not questions, what's going on here with this. Ed says, every company doesn't want you to talk about the work you do for them, but then every company that interviews you ask who else you worked for. And I bring this up for a reason here. Because of what I do with AV Educate and what I try to represent to the community, I am a big social media sharer of what shows I do for two reasons. One, I want to say, hey, I've done XYZ. I'm a video engineer. Sorry, Megan. I'm a video engineer. I do a lot of video stuff. And I have pictures to prove this, right? And I have a life book, and I usually once I get into the door, I bring what's called my life book, and I say, hey, you want to see my certifications or anything? Here it is. I don't do QR code, Steve, but I definitely will be thinking about that. Don't do QR code, and I did something that I do want to get to, because Rebecca was a genius with this idea. I want to get this real quick, but before I get there, Ed makes a very good point here. What do you guys feel about that when you're doing these interviews? How can you, without me, right? Without if I'm that generation, right? If there's no pictures of it, you didn't do it. How do you verify or feel comfortable to say, yes, what you're saying here is really you versus what you're saying here is definitely not you, like BS. How do you determine that? And I'll let anybody take that. Megan, I feel like you were like, I see this a lot.
Chomping at the bit.
So I do. It's funny though, because I actually hired Ed as a freelancer a few years ago, and I really liked his resume. It's a bummer I wasn't able to get him on more shows, but this is a tricky one. I think I kind of touched on it because I do deal with, I can't say, I did this because I signed NDAs. So I understand. I mean, you can mention venues. That could be helpful too. It's such a case by case scenario. It is.
if I
Well,
may
the great
jump in
thing
on
is
that.
if you put, you know, I work for this labor pimp and this labor pimp and this company and this company. Well, you know, I happen to know the owner of that company, so I can call them to say, is this
Yeah.
person worth hiring? You know,
Mhm.
and that's a great thing, because if you're on good terms with them and they're going to say something good about you, then it's a good idea to list it.
So be on good terms with your labor pimps. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that one. Steve, you wanted to say something?
If you're not on good terms with a company, then you don't want to put their name down for sure,
No,
because you
no,
probably do know them.
not that asshole.
No.
I find that the clients are more about their brand or their image being displayed. And so where I find kind of a gray area is if you're taking pictures of like backstage of equipment where there's nobody in the picture, and it's kind of, it could be any show. And to me, it's kind of a gray area. Now, if you're blasting, like, you know, you're working for this, you know, prestige, you know, client, say for, you know, for Google, and you're putting Google, oh, I'm here at Google, I'm Google, 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 here's the CEO of Google, that may be crossing that line. But if it's like backstage and you're the LD and you show a picture of the truss with lights on it, or you show a picture of the stage kind of looking out away from their logos, or that's kind of a gray area. And for me personally, my techs that I hire, I let them take professional pictures so that way they have that resume. But I also make sure that I get a credit and that client gets a credit, because it also comes down to, like, if their logo is in the shot, I get clearance to show that, to say, hey, this was a Google show, you know, and the production company was Wire Productions, or whatever the managing company was, and use with permission by. So that way you kind of cover yourself on the copyrights and like fair use.
I like that, and it's very accurate. And I'll give you a quick story. We're about to be at 9 o'clock. I'll give you a quick story. To your point, Steve, I was doing a Microsoft show. I was one of the main projectionists for this big blending. Probably the only reason it saved my job at the show. But I posted some scenes of the gear. But I posted before the show had started, and I posted and tagged things that I shouldn't have. So even though it was a picture of the warehouse, and it was, you know, well, not the warehouse, it was in Orlando, and it was like the whole, you know, massive, I think it was like C or whatever we were in, and we took up the entire thing with gear. And I was like, look at all this gear for this upcoming show. Within an hour, security came and got me, and like, who are you selling the information to? What other footage did you take? Let me go through your phone. And the thing that really saved me was that I was literally one of the only 2 projections on site to manage all the rooms. So double-edged sword, where yes, I was saved, but it was a real quick, and this was years ago. So real quick, like, okay, I need to ask before. And if I do these, I need to wait till after the show's already happened to post these. So very, very good advice to give to the community. Real quick, it's 9 o'clock right now. I know we missed a couple of the questions here. And I apologize for that, everybody. But I'm really big on this part here. If I can just, in order, Rebecca, Tom, Ray, Steve, Megan, which is the order I see, if you can give a final word to the audience, to everybody who's watching, one final, like, hey, my best advice to you about cover amazing resumes is XYZ. And Rebecca, I'll let you start off.
So one of the biggest things that I've seen people asking about and posting about in groups, people that are older and have been in the industry for a really long time, hiring takes place online now. There were people actually printing out their resumes and bringing them in person, which most people don't do that anymore. So go ahead and search for jobs that are hiring, companies that are hiring online, submit your resume online first.
I don't know. Do your research, you know, and target the job you want. If it's a job you want, show them you want the job and show them you can do the job. You know, that's the hiring manager is essentially answering 2 questions. Can this person do the work I need done? And will they get along with my crew? Is this somebody I can work with or my crew can work with? You know, if you come off as an asshole in the interview, they're not going to hire you. You know, those are the 2 questions they're trying to answer. So you want them both to be yes. You know? Yeah.
So my advice is to be specific. Be specific. Be specific with your intent on your resume. Be specific with your positions and your skill sets on your resume. And also be really honest with yourself about what you want to do. This has been a really rough year for everyone, especially our industry. And I want people to realize that this is a time where you can be honest with yourself about what path you want to take. And just keep moving forward to the best of your ability and rely on your community because they're there for you.
I would suggest having a virtual presence and getting familiar with the virtual industry now that things have kind of moved in that direction. And because all the same jobs are still there, whether it's lighting, video, audio, but yourself being comfortable in this space, right? Like seeing this and knowing that that's going to be kind of where we're at in hiring for a little while. And even because that's where I'm going to hire people in different states and different countries, because I'm going to have to do a virtual. I can't always, or they can't fly to me, I can't fly to them. So this solution, so being comfortable and practicing and having, you know, the basic equipment, whether it's like a cell phone or you have a camera and a small light kit, and just getting familiar with that interviewing process. So that doesn't stress you out before you even get into the interview, because believe me, that stress level of not setting this up, because you can set it up all day long for another person, but when you set it up for yourself, it throws you for a loop. So I would suggest, practice.
I'm going to say catch my attention and keep it going. So catch my attention with your cover letter, catch my attention at the top of your resume, and keep it going. Leave the lesser important things to the bottom, because if I'm not following along, you're going to lose me anyway. But one last piece of advice for when we're opening up again, and you're transitioning from your one job to another job, doesn't matter what it is you're doing currently. When you're called for a job, it's not that you're not available, you're already booked. You never say you're not available. You always say, I'm already booked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
I like that a lot. That was a great way to close the show. I was muted there for a second. So real quick, before I close this out, before we say bye to Facebook land, right? I have a couple comments here. Kenneth Snow is saying, and this is for you guys, by the way, was fun watching and listening to you all, things that I can apply even without being an AV. So thank you for that, Ken. Mr. Moran again here. Thanks everybody on the panel for your time and knowledge. Same for me. Thank you guys so much for being here so much. Albert asked a very good question in the comment that was too long to bring up, but if you guys get a chance to see it, I would love for you guys to see that on the back end. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the knowledge being breaking my head as to how I should build my resume. Awesome. Thank you on that. Jamil, again, made pages of notes. Really helpful. Thank you so much for your time and expertise. I can echo that as well. This is definitely helping from Albert. Already booked. Already booked. And the last one for the night before we close out and say bye is thank you, everyone, very much. Yes. Very good information tonight. And from myself to you guys out there, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for watching. And we're going to say goodbye. See you guys on the next one.
Sorry about Pepper, and I couldn't find the mute button.
And real quick, sorry. Time. I am not the master of words tonight. Austin sends his regards. He had a family emergency to go to. So I won't try to take his place here and say anything great. Rebecca and me will be here next week on Wednesday talking about social media and that side of the industry and how that can affect your resume. We welcome anybody who's on the panel here to be there as well. But if you guys are interested, next Wednesday in the event side between Stagehand Study Group and AV Educate, we're going to have a whole episode just on how your social media can affect that job you're doing. So no matter how good you took tonight's show and all the information you got, if your social media could be something that hinders you from that next level 2, level 3 interview that you're going to get to, right? Once you get past the first thing, don't let something that you have no control, that you have full control of, mess up your chances of a job because you want to be silly on social media. And I'll leave it as that because my other words prior, Tom knows, we're not that. But we'll leave it at that tonight. So again, I'll wave everybody goodbye. See you guys on the next one. And I will close out with my sponsor for this, who pays for all this, by the way. Thank you very much. We love you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.